Welcome back, Auburn fans, to another episode of The Jungle Show here on Auburn Daily's YouTube channel, Facebook page, and Twitch channel here at 6 o'clock on Fridays. We go live every single week out of the year, 52 weeks out of the year, to talk none other than Auburn basketball. And today we are here continuing our player preview series. Today, none other than Johni Broome, the big man transfer from Morehead State. Got a lot of upside and some big excitement around him. We'll talk about him and a lot more next on The Jungle Show. Hello again, and we are back again for another episode and rendition of The Jungle Show. Back again here today. I believe this is number 16. It's either 16th or 17th week that we've been doing this. Started at the beginning of the off season, and we are getting closer and closer to basketball time. As today, not only was the non-conference schedule released, we got an idea of what this Auburn season could look like, not only just dates, but also teams and when we will be playing those teams. So we'll also talk about that here in just a little bit. But today's episode is all about the big man transfer from Morehead State, Johni Broome, as we'll get into my article that will be coming out on Auburn Daily very shortly. And very soon we'll go through that article and then talk a little bit about his season last year at Morehead State and his Israel performances. But to do that, we've gone on long enough of not letting him interrupt me, but my dad and co-host is back again. Dad, we are not in the same room this time.
No, you are in the loveliest village on the plains, and I'm up in the suburbs of Birmingham in Chelsea, Alabama. So
that's right.
Right.
That's right. We're excited to get into this. First of all, I want to pull up the schedule. The non-conference schedule came out today and obviously drew a ton of interest from people just like us. But yeah, exactly. But now you get to really look at this and see how this season has a chance to lay out. Okay. And I'm trying to pull it up right now. So the non-conference schedule for Auburn starts off with on November 2nd, we will play an exhibition game against UAH, University of Alabama at Huntsville in Auburn. And then on November 7th is when the regular season will start against George Mason at home.
Okay.
Then South Florida at home.
George Mason, by the way, made a run several years ago in the NCAA tournament. I believe all the way to the Final Four.
Yeah. Then South Florida returns after we went to them last year in Tampa. They return to Auburn this year on November 11th.
Yep.
Then November 15th we host Winthrop.
Not a bad small college basketball team, by the way.
Absolutely. November 18th we host Texas Southern. So that's 4, not counting the exhibition games that you get at home before you then travel all the way to Cancun, Mexico for your first game.
SI Auburn. We want to go to that one.
That's not
Come on, Zach. Tony,
that's not going to happen. On November 22nd, we play Bradley, and then we'll play either the winner or the loser. We'll play either on November 23rd, either Northwestern or Liberty, both in Cancun.
Mm-hmm. Liberty's been really good recently.
Yeah, I think Auburn is definitely the favorite to come out of that Cancun challenge as the winners.
Yep.
But it's just about going there, taking care of business, and then you come back home for Auburn for a 2-game stretch or a 2-game home stretch against St. Louis, who's returning after we went to them last year.
That was a tough game last year.
And then we host a toothpaste. Colgate is coming. Don't know why we would play against the toothpaste.
I believe you and I went to the game last time they played Colgate.
Last time they played Colgate
a couple years ago.
That was the Final Four team.
Yes, it was.
We were there.
Yes, it was.
So, and then 8 days later, on December 10th, we go to Atlanta to play the Memphis Tigers.
I don't know what it is with playing Memphis and Atlanta.
Yeah.
But we enjoy doing that for some reason.
No, I enjoy playing in Atlanta because I know there's a lot of Auburn in Atlanta. I know there's the Atlanta Auburn Club is very, very well known for traveling to Atlanta. And
absolutely. Well, they don't travel to Atlanta.
Well, they live there. They go. Yeah.
But if you live in Atlanta, you travel to Atlanta because you don't live in the city. And anywhere in Atlanta is a long ways from Phillips Arena.
That's right. Yeah.
Maybe we could go over and ride the train in. That was
fun
trip.
to do that one time.
We did that to the Hawks game that one time. It's an easy trip from Birmingham.
Yeah.
So good. And then
after we play Memphis and Atlanta, you come back home for one game on December 14th to play Georgia State. And that's a good little catch-up game before the next 2 games on December 18th and then December 21st. You're in Los Angeles to play the USC Trojans.
That'll be
and then you're in Seattle to play the Washington Huskies.
Wow, finally get a return trip to go to Washington. They came here several years ago, I believe, against the Final Four team as well.
Yep.
And we beat them, and then their bus caught on fire.
Don't even think about doing no payback.
No, they had a really good big man back then, if I remember correct. I don't know his name. I don't remember his name. I'm sure he's playing pro somewhere, but he was really good, and they were a good team, and we beat them pretty soundly, I believe.
Yeah. Also listed on the non-conference schedule is the Big 12 SEC Challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, we will go to Morgantown to play against the West Virginia Mountaineers, play against Bob Huggins, and get pressed.
Get pressed the whole game, and that crowd in that building sits right on top of the floor, it feels like.
Yeah. A lot like Auburn Arena. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be a tough game.
So talking about that, I think the schedule sets up as well as it possibly could. I think there's a lot of games where you get chances for learning who you are before you go to Cancun, before you play Memphis and Atlanta, before you make the West trip.
I'll be interested in that Southern Cal team. I don't know anything about them. You know, they had the 2 big man brothers that are now in the NBA, but
playing both for the Cavs. Yep.
Yep. And so it'll be interesting to travel. So this team is going to rack up the mileage points.
Yeah.
They've been to Israel. They're going to Cancun. They're going to Los Angeles and then Washington State.
Yeah.
That's about as far away from Auburn you can get in the continental United
every direction
States.
Too. Yeah. Yeah.
But we still don't travel like Kentucky does to the Bahamas. Sorry. I've got to throw it in once a week. I've got to say something bad about
You've got to say something bad about Kentucky every week, don't you?
Once a week. Yep. Got to.
All right. So moving right along to the main reason of today's show, the Johni Broome. Yeah, I think we can start calling it the Johni Broome. Because I don't think there's another Johni Broome out there.
I've never seen the name spelled that way. I didn't know.
Well, I immediately thought it was Johnny.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah. It's Johni.
It's Johni.
Which is, okay.
And if he keeps playing like he did in Israel, I'll call him whatever he wants to be called.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about him in Israel first before we kind of go through the article that will hopefully be up on auburndaily.com pretty soon. Yep. And we both got the article in front of us, so we'll kind of be, piggybacking off of what was written. But let's talk about him in Israel first. So one of the big things with Broome and with this front court after the departure of Jabari Smith and Walker Kessler is who are the starters? Who are the starters? Because you've got guys coming in like Broome and Traore, and you've got guys coming back like Cardwell and Jalen Williams. So where are the minutes going to be split, and where do they come from? And I believe in the first matchup in Israel, we played the under-20 team, which was
we played the high
really
school
a game.
Team. Yeah.
I think those were the starters that he threw out there: Wendell, Zepp, Flanagan, Jalen Williams, and Johni Broome. Broome listed as a starter over Cardwell, which I think those two split his minutes about as much as they can.
Yeah,
but there are different things that Broome does that Cardwell does not. That it's going to be hard to take Johni Broome off the floor.
It is going to be hard to take him off the floor, and we'll talk about it more as we get going with him. But his defense, Cardwell blocks a lot of shots, so it's probably a wash there. But his offensive moves are head and shoulders. And look, I give Dylan Cardwell credit; he's gotten a lot better.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. I don't think there'll be a problem at center at all this year.
Yeah, but Johni's moves in the post back to the basket or facing up are significantly better than Walker Kessler's were last year.
I know, absolutely. Walker's game resembles the NBA so much with his length and his height and his ability. Yeah, pick and roll, catching lobs, blocking shots. Johni is complete opposite in terms of size and length and offensive ability. It's more of a back to the basket, post move type of college. We've seen that success in college. A perfect example of somebody that is exactly like the difference between those is one of my favorite players ever, Tyler Hansbrough from North Carolina. He's the perfect example of that. He could make a move on anybody in college. He could score on anybody. He could defend really well, but he wasn't that. He wasn't 7 feet. He wasn't super long. He was kind of a more heavy set. So his game didn't translate to the NBA, and he wasn't as successful in the NBA as he was in college.
He killed people in college.
Yeah.
Almost literally.
Called him Psycho T for a reason.
Hopefully Johni has even just a little bit of the aggression and the desire that a kid like Hansbrough had in college. Because you add that to his list of abilities, and he changes things. So I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get into some of his stats from the 3 games in Israel. So Broome averaged 17.7 points a game with 8 rebounds a game and 3.3 blocks a game in the 3 games against Israel. His first game, he had 17 points and 9 rebounds with 4 blocks. Against the All-Star Select team, the second game, he had 18 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 blocks. And in the national game, he had 18 points, 11 rebounds, 4 steals, and 3 blocks. He also went 8 of 14 from the field. And I went back and watched the game. Look, the Denny, the pro from Washington, from the Wizards, had a great game. He had 25 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. Yeah, he had a pro game. He should have that game.
He's a pro player, yeah.
When Broome was guarding him,
he did not.
Didn't score a point.
Yeah.
He got to the free throw line. Broome fouled him a few times. He did not score a field goal while Johni Broome was guarding him. That shows not only is he a great defender on the inside, blocking shots,
has the ability to move his feet
harder, but he's got the ability to move his feet not only just on the perimeter, but also guarding inside, and he's quicker than most of the big man. But that helps when he's able to switch. We're not going to have problems with Kessler trying to guard Javon Quinterly or Severe Wheeler. Yeah. So I don't think you have an issue like that unless I could see issues with Cardwell being like that. But that's another reason that I was talking about. It's going to be hard to take Johni Broome off the floor.
And we're not running down Kessler here.
They're different players.
But something that Johni has a little bit of that Kessler had is the timing on the block shots. His ability to not jump first. Bruce Pearl always harps on don't be the first one off the floor. Because if you're the first one off the floor, they're going to draw a foul.
Yeah.
So stay down. But the blocking shots is about timing. You obviously have to have the length and the jumping ability, but if you're long and can jump, but you can't time it perfectly, they're going to get the shot off.
Yeah.
So Johni's got that, like Kessler had it. But I agree, Johni's going to be able to go out on the perimeter and move his feet better. He's a very smart defender. He seems like he's in the right spots.
Yeah.
And look, I'll take. You said he averaged 17 and 8 or whatever in those 3 games, I'll take that all season right now, and I'll be happy. If we've got a center that can average 17 and 8, I'll take it in 3 blocks.
No doubt about it. I want to, before we get into talking about article, Dustin just commented. Love Dustin. He's at the high school game tonight, but he said he can't wait to watch the replay. Thanks, Dustin. Where you go, buddy?
Appreciate it. High school football's starting. Good night. Your alma mater played last night and kind of got slaughtered. Yeah, the Crampton Bowl.
And then that's what I heard.
By Helena, by the way, who you have a connection to.
You can't tell me that.
Yeah.
Okay, moving past that. Getting into the article that hopefully will come out on Auburn Daily pretty soon. I'm going to
don't give a lot away.
No, yeah. If you want to go read it, we will both post it on our Twitters. Once it does go live, it will go live soon. Hopefully tonight or early tomorrow morning.
You said the Twitter. The Twitter or the Facebook or the Instagram. I'm sorry. That's funny, though. It struck me as funny. Yes, we will both post the article. That's great. I know.
But I do want to go through the article. So the first thing I mentioned is Bruce Pearl's recent success in the transfer portal. I mean, that comes with guys not just like Walker Kessler, KD Johnson, Zeb Jasper, and Wendell Green, the guys from last year, but guys like KT Harrell, who he went and got from Virginia.
That sounds right. It's been a while since
it's
KT
one of those
Harrell,
ACC schools.
Who's now
Samir Dowdy was one. Javon McCormick was a JUCO transfer, but to transfer, it's become evident.
Evident?
Sure.
Evident.
Evident that Bruce Pearl and his staff can go into the transfer portal and get whoever they want. And that's exactly what they did with Johni Broome.
When I first saw the non-conference schedule, by the way, that was the first thing I thought is, who are we going to get from one of these teams for next year? Because you remember Morehead State was on the non-conference schedule last year.
First game.
It came in and Johni matched up against Walker.
Yeah.
And Walker had the better game. But Johni came in and
he played really well,
from then on, I watched him play because I was impressed with what he did at Auburn against our best player, or one of our best players.
Yeah.
And he tore their league up.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. I was looking when I was preparing to write this article, I was looking at just the stats from most of his games. And I was just, man, that's silly. That's silly. I understand he's going up against UT Martin and nobodies.
Yeah.
But he's doing stuff that isn't, and his best game was against their best opponent. Murray State was, and we're going to talk about that game when we get down to his best moment. I just spoiled that. Yeah. But that game against Murray State in the OVC tournament championship put him in the position to be at Auburn right now. He's not at Auburn without that game.
And if you go back, I would encourage you, if you want to know a little bit about what kind of player Johni Broome is, go to YouTube, pull up the OVC championship game, Murray State and
Morehead State.
And Morehead State. And Murray State ended up winning it. But it wasn't because Johni Broome didn't do well. Johni basically put Morehead State on his back and said, if we're going to get there, it's going to be because I'm carrying you. And he did everything possible to win that game. He had 32 and just couldn't miss. And they couldn't guard.
It was fantastic. Yeah. It was fantastic to watch too. I remember watching it and being like, dang, that guy's good.
Yeah, it was a great game.
So
it went to overtime maybe late.
I'm not sure.
Ended late anyway. It was a good game.
So, but Broome immediately became one of the top transfers on the market when he decided to enter the portal. He's a 6'10" center from Plant City, Florida. He played 2 years at Morehead State. So technically this is his academic junior year, but due to the COVID year, he will play as a sophomore. He averaged 15.4 points and 9.8 rebounds combined between those 2 years. In early April, he entered his name into the portal. And just 26 days after he entered his name is when he committed to Auburn. He had made a trip to Auburn and he had made a trip to Gainesville. And those were obviously the two that were, most interested in him and getting that interest back. But it obviously became evident that Broome was drawn to Auburn, and Bruce Pearl made that very, very clear.
Yeah, and the visit to Gainesville had me a little concerned because he's from Plant City, grew up a Florida fan, is what I'd heard. Yeah. And I think if their center that decided to come back, the guy that nobody likes, Castleton,
nobody likes that
guy. If he had not decided to come back, that may have been a harder pull for Bruce.
Yeah.
But because they have a 6'10" center who is very similar to Johni Broome's skill set or game, I think Johni just said, I'm gonna roll with Bruce and the Tigers and came up here and is gonna tear it up. I really believe he is a all SEC type of player.
Me too. So getting into the kind of the meat of the article here, obviously we go biggest strength, what they can improve on, best moment from this past season, and what their expectations are for this season, or what I believe their expectations are. So starting off with biggest strength, I understand his offensive game is so appealing, especially at the college level. His back to the basket, post presence, and post moves are invaluable. You can't put a price on that if you could. But him bringing back the rim protecting aspect that we lost when Kessler went to the draft, and being, just because he's 6'10" doesn't mean he's not going to block 4 shots a game. He averaged 3.9 blocks per game last year, which only ranked below Kessler, who was first at 4.6, and Jamarian Sharp, who is 7'5" at Western Kentucky. So he's got more skill to block shots. His timing is unbelievable. And I really encourage you, if you want to go back and watch a game, and you don't really want to watch the OVC championship, go back and watch his game versus UT Martin. Look, he only had 19 points and 9 rebounds. This is a great game.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's one of his lows. He had 12 blocks in that game. That was the highest of anybody last year. Kessler had 2 games where he had 11 blocks.
Yeah.
He had 12 blocks in that game. And they're not because he's taller or more athletic than everybody. It's because he's timing it to where he can block that right when they're about to put it. He knows he's a very smart defender. His big man defense not only just bringing back that aspect of rim protecting and blocking shots, but just like we were mentioning earlier, with his quickness and his athleticism to guard people on the perimeter. That's fine if he gets matched up with Severe Wheeler of Kentucky or Quinterly from Alabama or whatever other 5-star that they have at Kentucky. But because I feel completely confident he can stay with those guys and allow our guards to get back, because we have really good defending guards this year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
3 of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Having that back is something.
I think that I like what you're saying there. The last year we talked a lot about our guards can be so aggressive defensively because they know they've got an eraser standing behind them.
Yeah.
And I was concerned when we heard that Walker was leaving, because I love that aspect. Bruce wants his guards to be aggressive and be up in the passing lanes and on their guy.
Yeah.
And now that we've got another eraser standing behind them, those guys can be ultra aggressive. And you saw it in Israel. If you watch those games, that was as much pressure as we've put on teams in a while.
Yeah.
We were picking up 3/4 court most of the time.
That's the poor high school team. That was
sad against that team. But we were picking up 3/4 court against the kid from the national team who's really good.
Yeah.
and just being overplaying the passing lanes, and we got a bunch of steals because we're overplaying the passing lanes, we're double teaming, and they can do that because they got a guy back there in Johni Broome who is smart enough, like you said, and his timing, like I was talking about earlier, is impeccable, and he can get up and block shots. So
you're exactly right.
It allows our guards to play defense like Bruce wants to play defense.
Yeah. Yeah, cannot agree more. And I also mentioned in the article what we talked about earlier with the Denny guy. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his last name. That was the 9th pick in the draft for the Wizards 2 years ago. And has played a lot for the Wizards. He scored 25 points, but he did not score on Johni Broome.
A bucket.
Yeah. I mean,
and Johni blocked him at least once, maybe 2 or 3 times. So you go back and watch it.
He already has shown that he has NBA level defense in many ways, and you got a lot of opportunity to continue to prove that.
Yep, 3 more years.
Yeah. Well, let's hope. As Auburn fans, let's hope. What they could improve on, and look, Johni is a very complete player. He's very versatile. Like, I really struggled with this when I had to pick it for Jalen Williams. It's really hard to find things that you are like, he really needs to improve at this aspect. He's a very good defender. He does not – he has great quickness. He can block shots, obviously, which we just talked about. He is an incredible scorer offensively. You don't expect him to knock down threes, even though that would be lovely. I don't expect him to hit 3 threes a game or even shoot anywhere near 3. I think he shot like 7 last year and went 2 for 7 or something like that. So I don't expect him to shoot threes. The only thing that I really think he could improve on that would completely change his game is his shooting from the free throw line. He shot 63% from the line last year and 61% from the line the year before. I think if he ups that 10, 15 more percentage points, the game completely changes due to the fact that he's going to get the ball in the post and people are going to foul him. He's going to get to the line a lot. He's got to knock those down. He's got to knock more than 6 out of 10 down. I think he's got to knock more like 7 or 8 down.
I think that's accurate. I'd like to see him shoot 75%, and I think he probably could. But you're right. As a big man with post moves and the ability to pump fake and the knowledge to pump fake and get guys up in the air, he's going to get fouled a lot, and he's going to go to the free throw line a lot, and he's going to have a chance to, instead of averaging 18 points a game, average 22 points a game because he hit a few more free throws. Do you know what he shot in Israel? I don't remember thinking it was bad, but
I don't know because I couldn't get the stats from the first 2 games. He went 2 of 4 in the national. He went 2 of 4 in that game, and I don't know what he went in the prior 2 games. So I didn't put that in there.
It really, to be honest with you, that's not a fair comparison anyway because that ball is really different.
I
think a lot of people didn't shoot free throws really well in Israel, but if he's shooting 68 and 67% or whatever the last few years, add 10 points to that and shoot 78%, and his scoring will go up even higher. Obviously, higher than what it is, but it would really help him.
Yeah, absolutely. So, moving on to the best moment from 2021, and this will be, I don't know how I'm going to do this for the freshmen, but I can do it for the transfers or the transfer. You only have one transfer this year in Broome, but obviously it was easier to do it with the returning guys.
Yeah.
But it's harder to do because I didn't watch a lot of Johni Broome last year. I watched 2 games of Johni Broome. I watched when he came to Auburn because I was there. And then I watched when the OVC championship, and that's the one I picked. I think it's a no-brainer. So, like, Broome, I listed in the article, Broome had games where he had the game where he almost had the triple-double, where he was 1 rebound away from the triple-double. 19 points, 9 rebounds, 12 blocks. That was a career high from it. Against Tennessee Tech, he scored 25 points and 14 rebounds. That was the regular season high in points that he had. But he also went like 9 of 10 in that game, which is unbelievable. just like I mentioned earlier, those games did not get him to Auburn. The OVC championship
was fantastic.
He
was great. Go watch that
32
game.
points, 13 or 20 from the field, grabbed 8 rebounds. I think he also had 4 blocks in that game against a very good tournament Murray State team, who Auburn also played. So, and
I think that game was his highlight last year.
Yeah,
literally, if you've got a couple hours and you want to know what your center is going to look like,
go watch that game
this year. Go watch the Murray State.
You can find it on YouTube. Yeah,
it was a really fun game. Anyway, it's a play-in game to get into the NCAA tournament, so there's a lot riding on it. And he laid his guts on the floor, and just did everything he possibly could to try to win that basketball game. And they went to him a lot.
Yeah, he shot the ball 20 times. He's not going to shoot the ball 20 times for Auburn. But if he's, scoring 75 to 60 to 75% of the time,
that's good.
He's going to score.
Yeah, he's good.
So moving on to what we expect from Johni Broome this year, not just in terms of a production, but playing time and where he fits in lineups and that sort of thing. So obviously, just like we mentioned earlier, the absence of Kessler and even Jabari Smith, Auburn has to fill those holes in the front court. You didn't have to fill holes in the back court. Everybody came back.
Yeah,
literally.
Yeah,
the only guys you're missing off of this team that weren't here last year is Smith and Kessler. But you have to fill those 2 holes in the front court, and I think they've done that with Broome and Traore.
I think they have too, and I think they've also done that by increasing the skill set of Dylan Cardwell.
Yeah.
And having Jalen Williams still here.
Yeah. That's fantastic. I love Jalen Williams. So obviously, yes, he is a more natural center. I think he could play the 4 if you wanted to play Cardwell and Broome at the same time. I think the spacing on that on the offensive end could get a little shaky.
Didn't they play that way a little bit in Israel?
Bruce tried a lot of different lineups in Israel. I think that was his goal. I think he'll continue to do that for the first few games, probably, especially the exhibition game against UAH. Yeah. But maybe you can throw them on the court at the same time. I think they are going to split those center minutes, though. And I think Broome will get the upper hand in the minutes because he will be the starter. I do expect him to start, obviously.
I said earlier that I think he's all SEC type of player.
Yeah.
And I stand by that. I still think he's all SEC type of player. Castleton's a decent center. Obviously, Sheboy is going to be picked to be player of the year again.
Yeah.
Because he plays for Kentucky. But I think Johni Broome can go toe-to-toe with those 2 guys.
Yeah.
Arkansas is going to have a good center. They always do.
Yep.
Alabama's got somebody they call Stretch. So just like Alabama to try to steal our names that we give our players.
It's like they're not trying, but they know.
Yeah, they know. So obviously that's somebody that's tall and long, I guess, as Kellen Stretch. So we're going to run into centers, but I think Johni is probably in the top 2 or 3 of the center position, in my opinion. I don't have a lot of respect for Castleton. I do for Sheboy. So maybe top 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I could see it. I could see it. Absolutely. It was a fantastic get by Pearl and his staff to get a guy like him to come to Auburn. I mean, that's a big – he was one of the top, if not the top transfer on the market this past year.
I think he was the top transfer. Yeah. A lot of sites list where the transfers fit, and I think he was the top transfer.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's good.
We will go ahead and wrap this one up next week. I think I'm going to start on the freshmen and do the articles a little different. Obviously, we won't be able to do like best moment, but we'll still be able to do the other 3. I'm gonna have to do a lot of watching film and a lot of tape.
Good.
to see what we're going with here with the freshmen. I think I'm going to go by rating and start with the highest rated, which was none other than Yohan Traore, the former LSU commit who played fantastic in Israel.
Yeah, he really showed some stuff in Israel.
Yeah, he did. He showed that he could fill in for Jabari Smith, and I'm very excited to kind of watch what he did in high school and write an article about it. And we'll talk about him next week.
Good. I was going to say he's not a complete player yet. He's just been playing basketball a short time. Yeah. But he'll be fun to talk about next week.
Yeah, if you want to find the articles, they'll all be out soon on auburndaily.com. You can find them there or at SI_Auburn, or we're going to post them on our Twitters at Gray Oldenburg or at War Eagle Hoops. Find all the great stuff at SI Auburn or on auburndaily.com. Go check out all the great stuff going on over there. Zach, Lance, Lindsay, Andrew, all those awesome studs doing some great stuff over there. But we'll go ahead and get out of here. We will see y'all next Friday for the Traore preview. War Eagle.
War Eagle.